When it comes to build games with Python, there is one engine that appears to reign supreme. With tons of videos on YouTube on Pygame, we should probably crown the Pygame for being the best game engine for Python. Stop. Before we do, there is another, I think the worthy of consideration, and its name is Raylib. Today, I am going to dive into what Raylib offers and show you why it's worth considering the best Python game engine. If you don't know, Raylib is written in C, so how can it be the best game engine for Python? Raylib has bindings for Python, along with tons of different programming languages. Raylib can be installed with command pip install Raylib, or you can use third-party bindings. With Raylib, it's just few lines of code to make a window with game loop. Raylib supports various 2D simple and complex shapes. Input is an integral part that make a game playable and interactive. In Raylib, you can take input from keyboard, mouse and controllers. For taking input, we check key events for a particular key and assigning some actions to it. Game often require a mean to communicate with player. Text is the great way to do so. Raylib provide function to directly draw text on screen. Text are also like other objects. They can be transformed and animated. While rendering shapes and text are pretty dope, but game require to render the textures and sprites on screen. Raylib has native support for formats like PNG and BMP. Every image or GIF is treated as texture in Raylib, and they are loaded in GPU memory for best performance. Texture is rendered on screen like other objects. Lastly, we need to unload the texture and image from GPU. If you don't do it, Raylib will automatically unload all the assets from GPU. Now that we've mastered the basics, now it's time to level up. It's time to unleash the full potential of Raylib as we dive into the three-dimensional world of Raylib. To make a 3D game, we need to render 3D models. Raylib supports various 3D file formats, and rendering them is also pretty easy. To render the model, just load the model by specifying its path and draw it inside main loop. Rendering 3D model is not enough. Games need to render animation of 3D model to establish the connection with player. Here is a model which contains 14 animations. When I click left mouse button, animation changes. Now enjoy the animations. Raylib has native support for GLSL shaders, so you can do things like lighting an environment, implementing ray marching to get the reflections of environment. If you have powerful GPU, you can also do ray tracing. To get the shadows of object, you can use shadow mapping, physics simulation, and list goes on and on. Imagine a tool so versatile and user-friendly that it gives wings to your wildest dreams, transforming them into vibrant, interactive realities. With Raylib, the only boundary is your imagination. Anything you envision can become a game that captivates and delights players. This incredible library is your ultimate playground, where creativity meets functionality, and where every pixel can tell a story. Whether you're crafting simple 2D adventures or complex 3D worlds, Raylib is the magic wand that turns your coding spells into masterpieces. So grab your keyboard, Ignite your imagination and let Raylib take you on a journey beyond the ordinary, into a realm where the extraordinary is just a few lines of code away.